There we go. Now the sound will be there.
I have a cat paw in my face.
Asparagus.
Because when it crashed, it didn't save the settings, of course.
Oh, that's cute, Jason. Rocky's playing.
This is the new stream.
Yeah, you would. You know, I'm glad I trimmed his claws recently. Okay, time to get down. You're getting a little.
So next thing up, we had acquisitions and other things. So
acquisitions and updates.
Yeah, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Okay, I have some. I was hoping David Ladd was going to pop on for one of them, but if he doesn't, I can still do it. I'll wait a bit. Somebody wants to go first. I'll see if he maybe can pop on.
Okay. Let's see.
I got one. I got one here.
All right, David, go ahead.
There's we've been talking about getting games from America to Australia and the delays due to this COVID stuff going on. I experienced delays firsthand. I've got a USB device here that I can use to reprogram my CoCo VGA boards. I've got two of them in both of my CoCo ones, but I didn't have the right connector on the end of my adapter. If you can see that there, there's the little adapter there. I don't know if you can maximize that screen there.
Oh, sorry. Yes, let me get there.
It's upside down, but I guess it looks good to you. It's
from Australia.
just address the Australian compensator.
Yeah. There we go. That's the USB blaster there. That's for reprogramming the. I'm in reverse there, am I? Oh.
Only to you. It looks good here. Everything's right.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's good. All right. Yeah, cool.
Don't be confused.
Yeah, so this little board on the end here, this blue board with this cable on there, that little tiny connector on the end there, I'll just put it in front of my forehead so you can see it. That connector is what actually connects to it's a what do they call it? A
JTAG.
JTAG, that's it. And that actually connects to the CoCo VGA board.
You sure it doesn't plug on the bottom of a CoCo 3?
No, that connector is larger.
Yeah, that's more like that cable. That's the cable that came with the USB blaster, but it didn't fit into the CoCo VGA. So Brendan Donaghy sent me this little adapter.
And how long did it take to get there?
It was sent on the 24th of April, and it just arrived a couple of days ago.
Wow!
So that's about 2 months. It was stuck in Chicago for about 5 or 6 weeks or something.
Sure, they just put it on a raft and push it out to sea.
Yeah, well, I was sort of thinking, well, with all the riots going on and everything, I was thinking, well, maybe something happened to the post in Chicago. But fortunately, it arrived, so I'll be able to get in and reprogram my CoCo VGA and put the latest firmware and try some of the new tricks and bits and pieces. So that's the whole thing there. That's USB goes into the computer. That's the USB blaster, and then that connects up to the CoCo VGA.
Nice.
It's going to be my project for this week is to reprogram my CoCo VGAs. I did have another update too, but I'm going to save that until another time. It involves Rick Adams, so I'll wait till he's on the show with us and we can share that together.
Right, always leave them wanting more.
Yeah, that's the one.
Or whining less, one of the two.
All right.
I have a quick acquisition if you want to see it.
Sure, go ahead, David.
Sure. Oh, there we are. It's like, who said that?
David Veery.
All right. So I ordered from our buddy on Discord, friend of the show, Dave Phillipson. I picked up his CoCo Dev board. So I'll try and show it. On my screen. Here it is here. So it's a CoCo 3 based FPGA. We have a real-time clock. We got a Wi-Fi module. Yeah, really. SD card, real-time clock. Here's the FPGA, VGA out, and Wi-Fi module. And for people like me, we have a prototyping area with access to the IOs of the board.
That's really cool.
Does it have a port for the smoke to come out?
Too soon.
Multiple ports.
Yeah,
Is it wired for 220 volts?
So it's really fast. It's got, it's running at 25 megahertz.
Oh, wow.
It's doing pretty much everything a CoCo 3 is doing faster, except for video and sound. But that's okay because I'm going to put in the Yamaha chip. I can show you how fast it is. It's got lots of drives, of course.
Is this under $1,000?
Oh yeah, it wasn't very expensive at all. Okay.
You know,
Well,
a CoCo 3
Right.
just went for $510 on eBay here somewhere.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I wish I had
Wow.
more of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't we all?
Okay. Oops.
Where is he?
What is this? No. Upload.
It kind of looks
Sorry,
like
I just got this board the other day. Okay, 6.
it looks like an IBM font.
Yeah, you can do whatever you want on this. So here's a quick program. I'm just looking at some ROM addresses. So we just ran through like, I don't know, 500,000 ROM addresses. And I'll do the same thing on the CoCo 3 for a speed comparison.
Oh, wow. Far out.
And
Does
this
it,
is
does it
with the
run 25
high-speed
megahertz
folk.
like the CoCo 3 FPGA does?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's running about
So-
12 and a half times faster roughly than the CoCo 3 does.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's really fast. So there's lots of color palette options, all kinds of stuff you can do with this.
And it doesn't need a fan.
It doesn't need a fan.
That is so much faster. Wow.
And if I want, it's already got Nitrous 09 loaded up. I just have to,
Where's the fluorescent green screen?
voila. So here we have our Nitrous
And you got
09.
your real time, and you got your real time clock for Nitrous 09 too.
Yep. So I'm pretty happy with that. Anxious to really get experimenting with it.
So
Now,
is
if I remember David talking about it, this is a little bit different than the CoCo 3 FPGA, and actually something Ron just brought up. Like the CoCo 3 FPGA actually simulates the CoCo 3 right down to the VDG modes and all that. This does not, though. This is more like a CoCo 3 core, but using like a VGA card or the equivalent of, correct? Like is there a 32 green screen, 32 column green screen mode?
That's a good.
'Cause I don't think there is. If I remember from what Dave was saying, this is more like a hybrid of the two.
And
So
I
you
can
ju-
get all the.
So you're just pretending?
So, there's lots of options on it. Really, I've just been talking with Dave about it, and he said really the only difference we don't have is we don't have a sound of it or video, except for text video. So there's no graphics per se. But
So-
there's plenty of room on the card to put one.
It doesn't emulate the gimme chip.
Nope.
No, so it's yeah, okay.
It's more like a 609 emulator with the CoCo 3
Yeah.
ROMs, I think. And then, I don't know if he's planning on taking it further. I mean, the CoCo 3 FPGA kind of went through that too, if I remember. Gradually got more and more compatible. But at this point, this is early on in the development of this. This is more like a development system for doing 609 based stuff really fast.
Anyway, it's pretty nice. I'm happy with it and looking forward to being able to do lots of experiments.
Oh,
It'll
I like those
definitely be a
colour
fun
fonts.
place to do assembly programming.
Those color fonts look cool.
Yeah. And he's also got a wget program that you can just download instantly files over the internet right into your board through this little module up here.
Is that like a USB or is that a wireless or what is that?
It's a wireless, it must be one of the ESP modules.
All right. Sounds cool.
Would you be able to do Telnet and ANSI?
Yeah. He has some demos on YouTube. If you look under Dave Phillipson, you can see some of the demos that he. This is actually, I'm one of the beta testers of the board, so
Oh,
I'm pretty lucky that he let me have one.
cool.
And Dave's really good with answering questions too, and he's on Discord very actively on both the CoCo side and the CoCo Dev side. So he's available for any questions anybody has.
Yeah, and if I don't break it, then we know it's a good machine.
You don't feed 220 volts into it, you probably won't.
Just remember to leave all the smoke in it this time. Sorry, too soon. I know.
Yeah.
Okay. Pretty cool. Hey, Patrick, didn't you have something you wanted to share?
Am I Patrick?
Yeah, Rick.
Rick, okay.
Your name's so
Okay,
Patrick.
sure. I'll work.
Are you in the
Yeah.
witness protection program? And
Yeah.
Well, no, I've had so many names over the year, I can't remember them all anymore. So I just have to go with whatever people call me.
And I'm just following what's on the bottom corner of the screen here.
Yeah. If you want to be called something different, put something different in Zoom, I guess.
Right. Yeah. No, I used to be Rick, and then I became Ricky because there were too many Ricks, and now I've come back and there are still too many Ricks. So I don't
Well,
know.
there is
There
Rick
are
and,
Patricks.
there is Rick and Patrick.
Oh well. In any case, let's see. Can I share a screen, or do I need special permission?
No, you can share screen.
I can share a screen. I'm going to try sharing a screen, and then I'm going to try forcing myself into the screen I really want to share, which is not represented here. Let's see if I can do that. So I'll go down, Control Shift, do stuff. Do we see a workshop?
Yes,
Yes.
I do.
Okay, so this is my hobby shop, and it's been kind of dormant for a couple of years because I was a systems administrator for 20 years, and I really didn't have much mental capacity for spending on anything other than my day job. But that's been gone for a year now, so I was looking around for things that I might do, and I came up with this hobnob, which is a joystick port switcher using quad bilateral switches, which cost a grand total of 42 cents a piece in quantity one. So thinking that's a good thing that I might want to build.
What are you using? You're using 4066s or
Yeah, 40, what
or
is it?
4051s?
Let's see, what am I using? Well, here it is plugged in. I was running Rampage and switching back and forth between two different players to prove that I could switch while the thing was hot without crashing it and so forth. And I actually used, if I could only control myself, 4066 quad bilateral switches.
Yep.
2 of those will work just fine off of the joystick ports. I'm not sure that 6 of them plus an LM3900 would. So I'm anticipating having some kind of little feed through. This was every feature I could think of for this board, which only swaps the left and right ports. So you can have a mouse and a joystick and flip your joystick live without having to reboot your computer because it will switch live and not blow up. So then I said, what else can I do with that? And I've added a mouse port. So you have mouse and stick A and then stick B. You can switch mouse or stick A, and then you can swap stick A and stick B. And then of course there's the high res adapter at the bottom for, you know, high res things.
Oh, good.
so
I then
high-res
drew
built
it.
in?
Oh, of course. Switchable. So
That's cool. That's
So
really
how many
cool.
inputs do you have then?
3 on the
3.
big one, 2 on the little one. So if,
What do you
if you
think?
just,
So you got 6 4066s there.
right,
By the looks of it. Yeah.
that's what it takes to do everything. I could depopulate that and just have stick A, stick B, right in, right out, and swap them. You know, so
that's cool.
there's a lot. And one of the questions I want to ask is, what do I really need to put into this thing? I drew it as a through hole, and it's quite monstrous. Here's kind of the looks of it. And if I put it on the back of a CoCo, it would be that big by about 3/4 of an inch out. So that's kind of big. So then I drew it as surface mount, and it got way smaller. So here's the surface mount version of that same circuit with the A/B joysticks and high-res, low-res swap. And that would take up this much on the back of the CoCo. So I think that's pretty slick looking. And
Cool.
let's see. Oh, that's just
So
the old
this
thing.
this board lets me plug in my 2 joysticks and a mouse all at once.
Correct.
And then I can switch and select which joysticks and if I want the mouse, and even make the mouse the high res interface mouse.
And that's the
Right.
question I want to ask. Should the high res always be on the right side of the CoCo input? Or should the high res be switchable? Please don't say that. Because there's about the space I got here. I'm pretty much, this is about as much as I can cram into that much space.
I will
So
say
I-
that Multiview will let you switch it through software. So to cover every possibility, you probably should. But I think most people pretty well standardized on the right. Though, mind you, I mean, it's easy enough for those people. For those people, they can just go in and just edit the environment file and just change it to the port you pick, and then the choice is made for them.
Well, that's interesting. We could cram a couple more of these 42-cent quad bilateral switches in there and replace some of the toggle switches with switches, but then I have to do an address decoder, and how big do we want this thing to be?
So Rick, could I plug in a 6-pin DIN deluxe joystick, a 6-pin DIN Paragon to use a digital controller, and a mouse?
I'm not sure what digital controller means in this case. These are analog switches that I'm using to
Okay.
switch things. So you probably can do anything you can do, like Wycos and all of that stuff.
Well, there's an adapter that lets you plug in a Sega controller into a 6-pin DIN. So basically, do you have 2 6-pin DIN inputs plus a mouse?
Yes, and they're all
which is
analog.
either okay.
The switches
cool.
are all analog, so we
Nice.
should be good with that. So yeah, this is everything I could think of to do to a mouse adapter. And if anyone has any other ideas they would like to throw in before I actually throw money at prototypes and stuff, I'd like to do so.
Are you going to have an American name for this?
It's the mouse tamer.
Cool.
Yeah, that sounds all right.
And maybe the mouse tamer is this one that just switches 2 ports, and the mouse tamer 3 will be the one that has 3 inputs. I don't know, something, it's
Don't you need to also connect to the cassette jack for the high res interface?
yeah, there is a
Is it
little
high res or serial?
there is a little CAS out here to do
Oh,
high
I see.
res. You can
Okay, yep.
ignore that, but so I'm trying to do everything in one product. So I have the left and right switch with no high res, and then I have high res, and then we have the 3 input high res. And maybe for cost reasons, I might make a smaller board or depopulate part of the main board. I could leave out the mouse and a couple of switch chips. And
All right, I got a question. I plugged this thing in and I've already got my 2 megabyte this. I got a gimme. I got this, that, and that. Is this gonna like dim the lights when I turn it on then?
so I've determined by prototype that 4 of these quad bilateral switches will work just off of the limited output of the joystick. However, 6 plus a high res adapter, we might be getting it into the point where you have to put a little hook thing on pin 9 to suck a little 9 volts, but it's not going to be high. These are all very low current CMOS. So I'm really trying to fit into what.
Is there any power you can
available.
pull off the cassette port too that might help?
No.
No, you're pretty much limited. If you can't use the joystick source without getting full range on the joysticks, then you've got to feed a wire in and clip it into 5 volts somewhere.
Well, what's wrong with a small solar panel?
Well, I think the main reason is that most of us computer nerds stay indoors. You never see sunlight.
Yeah.
so-
Right, there is no
Yeah.
sun.
Yeah.
Most of
There's a
those
block of uranium on there. Make
most
it
of those
nuclear.
most of those little
Thorium.
calculators used a little ambient light. Solar
Yeah, see,
panel.
they used an LCD panel, so
Right, and they
6
needed
foot.
about 0.0001 microamps to run
Yeah,
because
yeah. You run them off a potato for about 2 years.
you notice I've even done cheats on this one. For instance, the dropping resistors are hard locked to ground once you switch. That saves a tiny little bit of current. I'm not sure why, but it does. So, you know, I tried to.
So is this
So
going to
that-
attach to the back of a CoCo itself? Yeah.
Yeah, it sticks out about 3/4 of an inch. The surface mount version would take up about that much room. So it's kind of a bump on the back of your CoCo.
Okay, that's not too
And
bad.
one question would be, should we reorient the joystick plug some way so that this 3/4 of an inch doesn't force your CoCo further out away from the monitor and things that might be behind it? So I just kind of wanted to bring this up before I really built a whole lot of them to find out what might be useful for people. You know, this is my first thought. I have a res switch, I have mouse or joystick, and then I have swap left and right.
Could you
Is that
make it
enough?
so
Is
that you could you make it so that the actual unit itself was in a separate box and you just run cables into the joystick ports, then people can put it wherever they want?
Yeah, that
Right
would
now,
be just,
you're gonna have to reach all the way around all that stuff to find the power switch.
well, yeah, that's the thing. The power switch is a feed through, but it may be up top, so it feeds through to here. So you have resolution, mouse joystick, swap, power. Just because
You know,
I've got a case anyway, so.
I personally kind of like the idea of having it separate from the CoCo case.
Yeah, so do I.
Yeah, well, that's certainly doable. I mean, I drew this to be one board with no handwork, but it could certainly be a couple of, ribbons feeding out to plugs, so it doesn't have
If
to
you did-
fit on the CoCo.
Yeah, because one of
Hey,
the annoying
doesn't-
parts of
that-
the CoCo itself right now is that you have to reach behind and fumble, on your desk to even find the joystick port to plug something in, or in this case, to hit the power button and not try to jostle everything else. You got like a switch.
Well, that's what I was thinking. On top, it would be resolution, mouse joystick, swap ports, power, which is physical. It's just a piece of plastic that feeds up through the case. So I was thinking the 3 sticks up here, 3 inputs here, this plugs into the CoCo. However, I'm certainly willing to think about moving that around if people think something
If
better
you're plugging the joysticks into that, sometimes the joysticks can be fairly tight. So you do put a bit of pressure in pulling a joystick out. So I'm wondering, if you mount the board on the back, are you straining that board and pulling it away from the however it's attached to the back of the CoCo? That's a fair bit of stress sometimes to pull it out. Whereas if it's a separate box, you've got a box you can hold and plug things into without
thought it was a
damaging the
box.
CoCo. Yeah.
I thought it was a
Yeah.
box that plugged into the
Because
existing
some
DIN
people will
ports.
switch what joystick. Like some people will plug in just 2 deluxe joysticks and they'll leave it at that with the mouse. But others might want to switch to a free float if they're playing Polaris versus you might want a pistol grip for this game and you might want your trackball for this game type thing. So you still want to access the ports. And if it's kind of riding on the back there, yeah, it might.
Right, and I've kind of tried to address that with the swap switch, so you could have 2 different joysticks, and unless you have 2 different people who play a lot, you can just swap them.
The other thing I like about the idea of having it in a separate box too, not mounted on the actual CoCo itself, then you're not limited to size restrictions, and you could go back to through-hole and make them available as kits. I mean, I'd love to build one up.
Oh yeah, no, I would definitely sell this. It fits. I mean, where's that picture?
Also
Here's
in
the through hole on the back of the CoCo. It's not bad. It doesn't. I mean, other than having to feed the power plug through, but I'm thinking that'll be part of the case.
Also in chat, Retro Innovations mentions that the port spacing is different between the 1, 2s, and 3s.
Yeah. Good point.
Ooh, didn't think of that.
Yeah.
Okay, so a standalone will be an option.
Honestly, more attractive to me as standalone. They plug into the existing ports.
Yeah,
Well,
I
like
get the
it-
standalone.
You can plug a ribbon cable into anything where, this would fit if you wanted to plug it in directly, but I could also stick ribbon cables in there for very little work and make a little box.
And since
So I could see that.
there's power to spare, can we have a little bit of an LED light show? like maybe
Oh, here we go.
RGB joystick connector. Woo-hoo.
All right, I'll
No,
be the
Ron, we
guy.
have to add a real-time
Real-time
clock
clock.
instead.
Yeah,
I got no bus
All of us-
connector. I couldn't figure out how to get the clock in.
and a sound chip
All of a sudden, you're going to have 16 4066s on there.
and 16 slots to plug cartridges in.
So this is pretty much the most over-engineered joystick adapter I could think of.
Oh, we'll help you.
David Ladd will
My
love
beer
you.
is all we
But
have
you-
to say to that.
And it's
But
getting
you've come
worse
up
by
with
the
a few more
minute.
things. Yeah, I'm going to put a couple more chips over here to replace these toggle switches.
Yeah,
And
they can be
an
just dummy
address
chips.
decoder so we can put them on the
Just
bus.
dummy chips. I don't have to do anything. They just look bigger.
an LCD status at the top.
Oh yeah, and the RGB status and lights and things.
It's
Yeah.
not done till it does dim the lights.
Yeah.
It's not even that. So here we are so far. This all works, and the net lists all match. Although I haven't finished putting the ground planes in and stuff, but I guess I will put some of these changes in there and see how it goes. And if you think of anything else, let me know, and I'll certainly be happy to add or remove from this.
Has it got a real-time clock?
Yeah, well, then I have to put in a bus connector.
Oh,
Just
excuse me.
thought I'd
So that's
ask.
distinctly a maybe, right?
Just
Well, this-
duct tape a wristwatch to it.
Will this fit at the bottom of my SDC?
No, it's a cool
Okay.
project, though. I like it.
So anyway,
no,
that's
it'd
my
be
number
handy.
one.
So just go back to your workshop there. You've got some nice little, you've got a frequency counter and a signal generator and a scope and a meter. And yeah, it's nice. Nice setup.
Two scopes, because the digital scope is actually just kind of a fancy VOM recorder thing. In my opinion, digital scopes aren't really good for analog
Yeah.
stuff. I do a lot of radio work. In fact, here's a couple
Yeah,
of
same
radios
here.
up here in sight. And for those, I need this signal generator because it can very well put 1,000 kilohertz on any frequency you want.
Yep.
Radio frequency you want for alignment. And this analog scope because it can display that. But then when I'm working on CoCo's, this signal generator works just fine, and this signal generator works just fine, and this scope works just fine for digital stuff. So I've really got to make more room on my desk because I had to throw some stuff out of the way to put the analog scope up to do a couple of radio projects, and now I got to get it out of the way so I can put the CoCo stuff back on. So yeah, I need a bigger table.
What's
I
the
think.
gray thing on the
I
right?
can totally. That's an analog scope, isn't it? You're talking about there.
Yeah, that's guess the brand. What guess would you guess if you looked at it?
Tektronix. Oh, hang on.
It's actually branded LG.
That's an LG. Yeah, I was going to say, I've zoomed up on it. I can see it's not.
Yeah, but it's it's Tektronix. It just doesn't have the right name on the front. I found that at
Yeah.
Goodwill for $6.
Oh, far out. You can't go wrong with that. Yeah, yeah.
That's why it's taking up the corner of my shelf.
That's
And
like
then, of
my
course-
shop. I actually need some more space on mine too. I've got a couple of 7603s tech scopes. I've got one with a 7D20 digital storage, and the other one's got 4 channels of 200 megahertz analog. So I'm totally with you on the analog versus digital. There's a time and a place for both of them.
I have a D546 with a hang down and a dual connector verbase thing. I just tried to sound important.
and it's powered by a 265 Hemi.
Yeah, exactly.
Lots and lots of horsepower there.
Yeah.
All
Oh,
right.
what's the stream? Where did it go? I can't unshare my screen because I can't find my stream.
Yeah.
Here, I think I can.
Bottom
Easy.
right.
Just
There we go. I got you.
No, it's not.
yeah, there's Zoom. Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Tell you what, Coco Man, you had some new stuff, right?
I do have some update and acquisition. Oh, let's see here.
Good job, Rick.
Thank you.
If that's your
Yeah.
real name.
Yeah, whatever.
Patrick Levine Hewland.
Okay.
There they have it. I did. I stopped by a consignment store and found some vintage goodies, not exactly CoCo related, but some cool stuff. But before I do that, let me do a screen share here. That's the right screen. Bring that up. We have there we go. Added a there's still some improvement on the way, but it is up and running. There's no more PayPal buttons at cocoman.biz. We are now using a shopping cart. So now
very
it's easy.
fancy.
So now it's easy just to add your items right to there. I mean, yeah, we're updating some of the pictures, getting rid of the wood grain, going with a white background, and you'll be able to with all the Australian named items and go through. One of the new items on there is the crikey
cable.
The crikey cable. It's the driveware cable. It comes in, and you can even select what length you'd like to get, either 6 feet or 10 feet or 2 meters or 3 meters. You pick your measurement standard. And let's see.
So I can have a cable that goes from your house.
I don't know if it would. I don't think it would reach from here to Arizona. I think it might have some issues, but
I have to put a splice at my house, right?
Yeah. we'll have to.
And the
we'll have to put in
optional
a junction.
stretch kit.
Yeah, the
We
We
might
could
have a
boost
few
your
speed
power.
issues. A few speed issues too over that distance,
right.
maybe.
Yeah, and there goes the cat. Okay. And the other thing, this was mentioned during the virtual CoCo Fest. The didgeridoo audio digitizer cable is now available for purchase. It's it was several different programs that use the audio digitizer to the joystick port, and there's a couple there that's listed that it works with so far. There's a couple other ones I have to test, but nice little item there that I have that's new. And I also have these nice categories. If you're looking for things with switches in them, they're right there. You know, we have the Joey series, the controller switch box, and of course the serial switch and all that other things there.
Are you going to sell for Patrick?
I sell my own items. I don't sell other people's items at this time.
Okay.
But now I have a joystick switch now available. And has been available, but I'm going to make some other improvements to the site. I'll go ahead and stop sharing. That's all I needed right there right now. Other improvements to the site coming later.
That's looking good so far. Nice upgrade.
Yeah, it'll be a nice upgrade once I get everything cleaned up. It works. There's no more PayPal buttons because that was a royal pain in the butt the way that was set up. So. Let's see.
So if we ordered everything that you have, we'd have a list of Australian terms.
You would. You really would. You would have a lot of those terms, but
the entire Australian dictionary.
Yeah,
just about. You know, minus koala. I had a suggestion. Use koala. I said, well, there's a koala pad. They made that way back when. I can't use that name. But went to the consignment store, picked up some things. I picked up. I'm disappointed that Dave is not on the show because I picked up a 10-pack of 3.5 floppy diskettes,
nice.
Colors, in colors. You know, multiple colors there, so that's fun.
They're high density.
Yeah, they're high density, but I thought, they're $4.
Just got an MM1. You could use it.
Yeah, there you go.
That'll really get the grease weasel going.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And then just some other miscellaneous things. I bought like a 2-pole, is this the RF switch, heavy duty Radio Shack branded for like a couple bucks. So it's like for $2, that'll come in handy.
It's not Archer.
It actually says Radio Shack on it. But
wow.
Speaking of Archer, since you brought it up, Nick Marotta, I have this joystick, this Atari compatible type joystick, and it may be hard to see, but it actually is Archer branded. Ooh. But then it says custom manufactured for Radio Shack on the bottom. I mean, this does look like some of the other sticks they made at the time, but it is for the Atari. But you could use one of the adapters to go to the CoCo, play with that. But again, it was like $5. I said, why not? I said, for $5, why not? You know, I'm already here. I also picked up another Atari style joystick. This is a Waco command control. So and it's also
cool.
the 9-pin connector. Again, $5. I'm like,
Oh, that's bargain.
Yeah,
it is
yeah,
a
yeah,
bargain.
yeah.
I love this place. I don't get there very often. It's a couple hours away, but it has a gate lock. I'm not sure.
That switches between the top and the bottom button.
Okay. I haven't had a chance to check this stuff out. Like I said, you saw I was on the road earlier, so I just arrived home during the Nick Marentes segment.
I still have a brand new Zebra adapter to put those Atari sticks into your CoCo.
Yeah.
If you want it, I'll give it to you.
I actually have somewhere around here. I have the Boys in Tech Paragon adapters for that purpose.
That's what I was talking about earlier.
Yeah, and this you can get. This is from Boys in Tech. You have the 9-pin connector for your Atari style joystick, and then the 6-pin to your CoCo. There's a similar device also offered by Neil Blanchard. It was mentioned earlier. Does a similar function. Also, this is for the NES, but it's another Wyco. What is this? Wyco command control, and it's got the start and select button, the 2 side buttons, and it is the NES connector. But again, $5. I couldn't pass it up for $5.
You have the same sickness we all have.
I know. It was only $5.
Well, yeah, of course. Why would you pass it up?
Right, there were 50 of them, but
yeah, it wasn't 50. They had 3 joysticks there. I bought that was on that particular shelf. I bought them all.
I'm sure I'll need this one day.
Yeah. And then in the that was on the shelf. Then I had to go over to the case. The stuff that's in the case. But I picked up, and I don't know much about this, but I picked up a Tandy Pocket Computer PC3.
Ooh, nice.
I'm not sure what I'm going to do with this. It doesn't power on yet. I'm guessing it probably needs a battery.
Can you work in a report for watch like batteries, if I remember?
That's what I'm guessing.
Can you work in a report for JT?
Yeah, on
JT. And it was only $5.
I think it was a little bit more. I think it might have been. It was somewhere between $5 and $10. I don't remember exactly, and the price tag fell off. I couldn't. It has these little plastic doodads too in there. I'm not sure what these are for, but it looks like it would be a type of overlay, but there's nothing.
Yeah.
I'm not sure
you
what
can
that
write on
keyboard.
the back of those.
It does fit over part of the keyboard, but they seem to be identical little plastic doodads. So
maybe you labeled them.
That's what I'm thinking. Maybe you could label them, but it was those were nice. They were nicely in the little case here, but of course they don't. Let me go back in. There we go. Close enough. And another item in the case here. And okay, now I did pay more than $5 for this, but this is a Super Advantage.
Ooh.
Cool.
It was $20, and it's for the Super Nintendo. But I'm like it's been a while since I've been at this store, but they had a regular Advantage there, and I didn't buy it. Of course, it wasn't there the next time I came back. So.
Was that a Nintendo product?
This looks like ASCII-ware.
Okay.
Super Advantage. So it's
does it have LEDs on it?
No, but it's got lots of switches, lots of
turbo and stuff.
It's probably licensed by Nintendo. It's the font and stuff.
I don't know.
And a real-time
ASCII Entertainment Software Inc. There's nothing with the word Nintendo on this thing, so it looks like a third party to me, but still, it's pretty darn cool. And last, but definitely not least, again, not CoCo, but and I'd never seen one of these things in the wild, or if I had, it had been for an exorbitant price. But I picked up for the Atari 2600, I picked up a StarPath Supercharger.
Oh wow, those are rare.
For $25.
What does it do?
What this does is there are games. It plugs into the cartridge port on your Atari 2600, and then there are games available for this on cassette. So that there's this audio cable here, and you plug it in. You load the game to the supercharger from cassette. I've never owned one of these, and I've been collecting this stuff since the mid to late 90s, and I've never seen one at least at a reasonable price out in the wild. So this.
The supercharger actually has some extra hardware on it, extra RAM and stuff, so you can get past a lot of the limitations of the original 2600 games. Some of the games were quite good.
So I'm looking forward to playing with this. But this is pretty cool, and I never seen one like this, and especially not for that price anyway. But it's hopefully it works. But I think that's all I have. I think that was enough. I think I spent enough money today.
A rising
Cool.
entertainment
Very
cost.
cool.
Now we got some wows in the chat. And...
Yeah, that's.
Oh, somebody wants to know, Jason, for your didgeridoo cable, will they have to learn circular breathing?
But no breathing techniques involved with this particular cable. No.
All right.
I was going to say, maybe you might have to.
No. That wasn't my brother that asked that question, was it?
No.
No, my brother said this is Hamvention scale larceny.
Yes.
I don't think I'm ever going to top that. That was and for the folks who missed that one, last May 2019, Dayton Hamvention picked up a CoCo 1 heavily modified with extra toggle switches, a multi-pack, an FD502, a disk drive for a Model 100, what was it? What was that? What is that thing? It's a gray, had a light pen with it with a cartridge.
Where'd you get the CoCo with the soap in it?
That was at VCF Midwest, but I got a bunch of stuff for $50. XPad, yeah, XPad multi-pack, a couple other things for $50. I mean, it was I think it was probably the deal of the year, if not the decade, on that one. So
next time you go, they're gonna say, "There's Jason. There's Jason. There he is."
Quick, get all the stuff out.
Yeah.
What can we sell him?
Sell them some more shit.
It's
the $5 CoCo 3 with soap powder. That was from VCF Midwest, and it is repaired and it does work.
And it's clean.
It's very it's very clean. It's very clean, and it's right here. So I still have it. I left the key switch in it. I took the key out. It's not wired to anything anymore, but I needed something to fill the hole and act as and I guess it's a conversation.
That looks very Defense Department.
Yeah, it's very.
Yeah,
it's a great place for a power switch.
It's no New York Times. Well, it was a broken power switch, and they had taken speaker wire and just kind of jammed it in where it was supposed to go, and then ran it to this key switch, and it was a screw terminal. So that was a mess. And then on top of it, there was soap powder in it.
Do you have the key to go with it?
I do have the key. The key is attached to the power cord. I didn't lose the key, but it was kind of in the way, typing. So I do have the key. But I don't have anything else to fill the hole.
That was to keep somebody's little brother from using it.
Yeah, exactly.
Could have been. I mean, that power switch was pretty mangled. So who knows?
Okay, the last one I had on my list was Nick.
Yeah, I got a few things. Well, this is from last.
I got one too, just to let you know for after. There, I got
Don't
to interrupt you
me.
this time.
Don't interrupt me.
Get your own segment.
That's a throwback to last week when I apologize for that, Curtis.
Now I get to take over the conversation the next 5 minutes like somebody else did to me last week. This sounds awesome.
I showed this last week, but nobody saw it because that was during the interrupting thing. So I got Tetris, which I'm really happy about.
Very cool.
I got some more cartridges. I got Space Assault.
And flipped up that first one again so we can see it.
Oh, Tetris. Yeah, I got the cartridge for it, but it's in my CoCo. But I got the case for that one. I had this as a kid. I'm very happy.
You're gonna have to make Tetris a GameOn challenge one week.
Yeah, I was thinking about it. I got pinball. Terry sent me a few things: pinball, Space Assault, Bust Out, Popcorn. Dungeons and Daggerath and Megabug. That was a good song. I also got one of the deluxe CoCo badges.
Oh, cool!
And Terry also made the Tandy Shack badges. That's one of his sites, Tandy Shack. So yeah, he sent me a nice little box of stuff this week. So thank you, Terry, and thanks again to Mr. Dave for Tetris, which is one of the ones I had as a kid and wanted to get back again. So
cool.
I love Tetris. It's one of my favorite games.
So yeah, I was thinking of making that a game of the week. I didn't know how people would respond to that, but it's a good game. So,
yeah, definitely. I'll join in for sure with Tetris.
Yeah.
It's
And
one of the world's
there's-
most popular, so I think that would be a hit.
Yeah.
And it's CoCo 1, 2, and there's
Yep.
a CoCo 3 version.
Yeah, it's a double. Yeah, it's a fat binary or whatever you call
Yeah.
it.
So
Yeah.
does that count as a CoCo 3 game or a CoCo 1 and 2 game then?
It's
See, I
it's
could
the
do
same
that.
game, same graphics. It's just that he's extended, what he's drawing for the background on the sides on the 320 mode. But he's actually using the exact same graphics, which is it's all four colors.
Was it Greg
That way.
Sumwalt?
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, that could be during a CoCo 3 week for sure.
Well, yeah, that's what I was asking. I'm like, you have your CoCo 3 weeks. Is that going to count as a CoCo 3 week, Nick Marotta? We have inquiring minds want to know.
I'm not okay. I'm OCD, but I'm not as bad as you're making me out to be. But yes.
I don't know what you're talking about.
And
Since,
that's it.
Loading
That's
it
my
up.
acquisitions.
Loading
Alright.
it up now. Here's
Since-
Tetra. Oh, hang on.
Since we're talking about joysticks and stuff that aren't CoCo related, maybe somebody can make this Thrustmaster work on my CoCo. I got this for $5.49 at Goodwill.
Is it
PC,
a
the PC.
PC 15 pin joystick?
Yes.
Uh,
Yeah.
maybe.
Man, my Goodwill never has anything nice like this.
Yeah. Look at that. I saw that and I thought, geez,
That's a
they
monster.
used to kill for one of those, right? Does
That's
this
a monster. That thing. You could fly a plane with that.
does it shake or anything, or was that some other joystick that used to shake when you hit a rough patch or something?
Now that would be a good product too. A PC 15 game port joystick that shook on the CoCo. Thoughts to think.
Talking of just going back to Tetris quickly. I've got Tetris running on the CoCo 3 now. So in the background there, sitting behind me.
You're ready for the competition.
Uh-oh, trash talk already.
Widescreen.
Yep.
All right, Curtis, you had something?
Yeah, that was a bit of a surprise, and it's actually along the joystick related thing too. So I got a package I just literally picked up last night because I kind of got busy yesterday and I didn't check the mail till later. And the attached little note here that came with it is from Paul Fiscarelli. And he says, I hope you don't mind me sending this to you. I asked David Ladd for your address. So thanks to Dave and both Paul here, because I was not expecting this at all. I had no idea this was coming. This is one of the new CoCo joystick to USB adapters I've been working on. I figured with all the EOU work you've been doing in optimizing games as well, you might be able to put it to good use and help me understand if there are any issues I haven't discovered yet. So this is kind of a prototype, earlier prototype. I know David's got one of these as well. P.S. The instructions are somewhat simple, although MAME will take some fiddling. It works great on my MacBook. There's knobs and switches, and I might as well hold it up here now. So they basically, the CoCo joystick plugs into here. And on the other side, you've got a micro USB that plugs into your PC or Mac or Linux box, whatever. And then you've got some other things here. You've got a little rotary switch here, and you've got some, LEDs and some press button LEDs. So just to read his description, while I hold this up.
There you go, Ron, your LEDs.
The knobs and switch, the green LED is the rapid fire on, off, and speed adjustment. So you can actually do that. The other push button switch, the blue LED, is the left-right joystick switch, which allows swapping the inputs without having to mess with configs in the middle of gameplay. So this basically will fool MAME into switching left to right joystick ports. So you don't even have to go into the main menu whatsoever to do it.
Oh, nice.
Patrick's writing stuff down.
Set it up once and you should be all set after that. So we included the actual little box and then a little USB adapter cable for it. Like I said, I just got it last night. I just opened it up this morning, not knowing what it was. I haven't had a chance to try it yet. David Ladd has said that he's actually used it in his version of MAME and it runs pretty well. So, and I definitely play better with the CoCo joysticks because that's what I grew up with. I wasn't much into modern gaming, so I don't touch all these digital crap you guys do. So this will help my scores, I figure, in MAME. So I'm going to definitely give that a shot. But this is a prototype for a product he is planning on releasing eventually. So
nice,
it's small, compact.
Cool.
So thank you to Dave and Paul. And I will give them some feedback once I get a chance to actually try it out.
Nice.
All right. Cool. Maybe that you'll get a different color of smoke when that comes out.
Purple smoke.
Yeah.
As long as I don't have to solder my hair, I'm good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that was everything that I think that we had on the list. Anything else going on?
I was going to do one update. I've been taking a break from actually writing Nitrous 9 for a while. I've actually found some bugs now. I've got to fix in Nitrous 9. Some have been there for years, kind of like some of the graphic ones we found. We found a few other oddball ones just recently. But one thing we've been really concentrating on is getting the updated manuals going. The Windows version of the manual for OS 9 Level 2, updated for Nitrous 9, is already out on the website. I've been working on the system call, like the technical reference section, which is several hundred pages. And actually, there's quite a few pages being added. So I've just finally completed the get stat calls. And I'm just starting to do the set stats calls. And if I can get enough free time this week, I'm hoping to have the whole technical reference manual done for submission to Jay Cyril to actually do the updated version. And once he's got that all typed in and we kind of correct and double check it and stuff, that should be out within the next couple of weeks then too on the website. I know Todd Wallace and a few other people that have been getting into Nitrous 9 have been learning, all the ins and outs and all the programming, but they've been, trying to do certain things that they go in the manual. There's no easy way to do it. So you have to figure out some manual way. And there's actually a lot of hidden system calls that Tandy never documented, even though they've been in there since day one. Plus, there's been newer ones that we've been adding in over the years in Nitrous 9 itself. So this will be the first documentation that covers the whole thing, all combined, all the missing stuff, all the new stuff that we've added on. It also covers some of the third-party stuff that's, for certain drivers from other third parties. So we're going to have everything in there, and that should be out in the next couple of weeks.
So do you have a version that'll print on my TP10?
If your TP10 can print PDFs, go for it. You might let some smoke out of your TP10 trying to do that. But...
Yeah.
So this is
buy a case of paper.
So this covers EOU as well?
Yes.
Yeah, cool.
In fact, it'll have some highlight boxes. If it's something unique to EOU, it actually, like the windowing manual had that too. There's a few things that are unique to EOU. There's some things unique to Nitrous 9, and then there's stuff that works on OS 9 Level 2 and up. So it's actually going to have these little boxes explaining, what they're for, or if they're, for a certain third-party driver. Like there's some system calls are added for, say, SDisk 3, which is a disk floppy driver that actually handled the Performance Peripherals No-Halt controller, which had some special calls, and it also had stuff for reading MS-DOS disks and Flex disks and CPM disks and all kinds of stuff too. So I've documented those, so people want to install that driver, and then you start using special software for them to know how to do it.
So next year you'll have the English language version?
This is English language.
Well,
I would love to see a done one, a incomplete one, anything. This sounds great. Thank you.
Like I said, the windowing one, which is updated with the new functions that we've added in, and plus some corrections, enhancements to some of the other functions, is out now. We're going to be releasing the original Level 2 manual, that big 1,100-page sucker, gradually as we go. So the next one here is the tech reference, and that's like, I don't know what it's going to end up being. I think it's right now about 250 pages, but I've already added about 20 pages that weren't in there in the first place. So, and there's still more to add yet. So it might hit 300 by the time we're done. And then after that, it'll be Basic 09 and the commands reference. Commands reference is going to be getting a ton of extra stuff because I'm going to put all the third-party stuff, how to use AR, how to use MSter, how to use all these other utilities and stuff that have been written over the years.
How to make a real-time clock work.
Yeah, that's a hardware thing. I'm not a hardware guy. Yeah, I'll leave that up to Rick. He can add it onto his joystick thing there. So, oh wait, he said he couldn't do that. Never mind.
all of my disk controllers have a little cutout in the top, so you could put the Dallas real-time clock underneath the deck basic ROM, and it all fit because the ROM ended up flush with the top of the case once you put the Dallas real-time clock underneath it. Unfortunately, you have to saw those apart with the Dremel tool and put batteries in them. So yeah, it's time for work there.
Yeah, I'm sure the community is going to figure out a decent standard for that at some point here, and then we'll support it in Nitrous 9. So, but yeah, the manual's a huge. It's actually more work than I thought it was going to be. So I've actually decided I'm going to sit down and finish this because it's something that's been needed for literally 20 years. I mean, since Nitrous 9 first came out, we would occasionally have these little pages in the manual saying, "Here's a new system call we discovered this week, and here's a new one we added." But there's never been a compilation of them into, like, here's a manual. If you're just starting Nitrous 9 now, rather than have to, get the original manuals and then find all these little bits and pieces that have been released over the years, here's just the brand new one, the new updated manual.
That appeals to me.
And when will it be ready?
I ran across a web page with all the level 1 discs, and there's so many of them. And are they... like I saw a CoCo SDC one for level 1. I was going to try and run it on my, CoCo 1.
Do you have the
TDP.
link for that, Ron? The link for that page?
No, it was in CoCo the CoCo Facebook group. It was, I think they were talking about, well, maybe it was in the OS 9 group. I don't
Okay.
have it in front of me, but
The nightly build one, you mean, with all the different versions?
yeah, all the different versions. 6309s and then 6809s.
Yeah, there's CoCo VGA versions and regular.
Yeah. So I took one, saved it off, put it on my SDC. It didn't work. Yeah. So I'm going to keep, I guess, doing that until I find something that works, or I don't know. Maybe I don't know what I'm doing, but each one of those are boot discs, aren't they? Or
Yeah, I mean, some are set for 80 tracks, some are set for 40 tracks,
Yeah.
some are set for double-sided, some are set for single-sided, some are 639, some are 6809, some are CoCo VJ, some are regular CoCo, et cetera, et
but
cetera, et cetera.
SDC, it doesn't matter, does it?
There's SDC specific versions of each because the driver has
Yeah.
to be right. There's also drive wire versions or standard floppy versions and
Okay.
et cetera, et cetera. So
So I guess the more I keep at it, I'll find something that's
yeah, if you look for the ones that have SDC in the file name and then pick the right CPU and whether you want the CoCo VJ enhanced version or not, that should narrow it down. David Ladd's done a bit of fiddling with those. He might be able to help too.
okay. All right.
And David, Veer, you had a question?
Oh, I was just saying, when is it going to be ready? I need that now.
Of which?
Got Nitrous, the Nitrous OS 9 manual.
Oh,
I'm pretty rusty.
well, like I said, there's four main parts of the main book, the main level 2 manual, and we're basing everything on the level 2 manual. The level 1 manuals are much more technically oriented. They're more like reference books. They don't actually help teach you. It's kind of like going from an Apple II basic manual to a CoCo basic manual. It's a world of difference for a beginner. So we're basing on the level 2, which is a lot easier to understand. I mean, I'm doing the technical stuff first because a lot of the hardcore programmers have been asking for this for quite a while. But we'll be covering basic 9 and the standard commands too. So it's going to be released in chunks. The Windows version of the manual that has all the display commands, to draw graphics, primitives and stuff is the first one. That's out now. The technical reference should be out within the next couple of weeks, 2 to 3, I'm guessing, depending how long the proofreading takes and how many mistakes we find. And then I don't really have a time schedule at this point for the basic 9, which is a huge one. And then the main commands one is going to be probably 2 to 3 times bigger than the existing level 2 manual one because there's so many extra commands that I consider to be stock now in the official releases of EOU. So I'm going to be trying to cover everything in there just so that people have references. There's different alternative ways of doing things and people can pick their own favorites type thing. And there's a lot of stuff in there that just was never part of the original release. So that's probably going to be the last one, I'm guessing. Basic 09 is going to be pretty close to what it is now. I mean, there'll be some mentions like 639 optimizations. Like if you're doing integer variables and you want to do divides, they're 10, 15 times faster than 609 equivalent. So maybe that's something somebody will want to know, that if they do something that has heavy, integer divide in it for doing, I don't know, graphics or something, that they know that they may want to target a 609 specifically because it runs so much faster than if you target a 609. Or things like that. And I do have some enhancements for Basic 9. I am planning on doing. The graphics 2 library has been enhanced. The graphics library has been enhanced. So those new features will all be in there too. But there's a fair bit of work there just because the Basic 9 portion of the manual is the largest by far. And there's just a ton, I think it's 400 or 500 pages there to do. So that's going to take a while. And that one is unlike the other two that we're doing now, has never been typed in before. So that's going to be like a raw scan it in and OCR it and then start looking for corrections, etc. So those are further out in the future. I can say that the technical reference should be sometime in July.
So just to review, here is the operating system Basic 09 Multiview Dev Pack. Operating system Basic 09 are the 2 manuals on that you can see now. And that's what he's rewriting. So good luck with all of that.
And then we got to hit multi-view, the development system.
yeah. All of this.
Is there like a Cliff Notes or something a little bit shorter?
Yeah, there's a help command built in. That's got quite a bit. So you could probably use that for now.
Being PDFs and searchable would make it easier to find some stuff.
It is.
Yeah,
that is what we're outputting. Also printable. So if you want to do it, they're set up for 8.5 by 11 inch paper. So if you have your own printer and you don't mind blowing, reams and reams of paper on it, you can actually print.
Oh man, you got to fit them in the original binders, man.
Yeah, but you can't buy those binders anywhere else if you don't have it. So it's easier.
Well, you can for me.
And me.
Just print it at about 45% size or something. That's all you gotta do.
And drill the holes.
But yeah, they're all done in a word processor. So with the export to the PDF is definitely going to be completely searchable. We're releasing PDFs. We will be releasing the actual Open Office, LibreOffice cross-platform docs for it afterwards once it's all completed and we've finished double checking and had people come in with corrections and suggestions. And then it'll become an open source project so people can add to it as they add their own stuff.
Interesting side note, my dev pack manual came from Tandy, what is it, STP or whatever they had. The manual came completely printed, bound or plastic wrapped, undrilled. And I literally
no holes to put it in the binder.
I drilled the holes with a drill while the manual was still in its plastic with a piece of wood on top and bottom. And that is the dev pack manual I have now. The white one in this, the whitest pages in this came from that Tandy STP thing. So that was fun. They delivered a perfectly printed manual with no holes.
Jeez. So I'm over in chat. Ken can make it. Asks or says Cliff took one look at it and had a heart attack.
I'm glad I didn't do the level 1 manuals. He would have had a stroke and an aneurysm on top of it.
Too many colors in the stripes. They're supposed to be black and yellow.
Curtis, we really appreciate you doing all this stuff. You do it selfless, and
well, apparently I get free things for it now because this is part of the reason I got this. So
that's great.
It's not so selfless anymore. Now I'm going to demand people donate. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Well, you do a great job. I mean, it's actually appreciated, you know?
Yes.
I totally agree, right?
Thanks.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Well, plus I'm getting people interested in like David Wallace, or Todd Wallace, I should say, Lord Dragon in the chat. He just done some pretty cool disk-based games, and now he's got a Nitrous 9. He's kind of learning, like, you know, when you have a real operating system, all this stuff's done for you. You don't have to rewrite everything from scratch. And he's been having just a ball that he made his new dir command that's based in the MS-DOS-ter already. Now he's working on an IRC chat client to run over drive wires, so you can actually use a real CoCo to log into IRC chat. So he's been, you know, taking leaps and bounds, and now he's hitting the limits of the manuals where the stuff that he needs to use isn't there. I know it's there, and some of us, you know, diehard Nitrous 9ers for years to come or years in the past know that these things are hidden away. But he, of course, had no idea because he's looking at the standard manual. There's no way to do this. And I'm going, yeah, actually there is. So it's another reason that I'm actually going to stick to doing the manual here for the next little while. So the next version of Nitrous 9 itself, other than a bug fix release with some GimmeX add-ons, just to give you some bare functionality to use the GimmeX. We're going to be concentrating on getting the manuals done. Bill will still be doing some programming because Bill's just more of a proofreader on this part. Jay is doing the typing and I'm doing, you know, all the notes of what to change. And once that's done, I'll get back into the actual development. But Bill's going to keep some of the development going in the meantime.
Now, I've been talking to Alan DeCock, and he has talked to you in the past, and you guys might get together with someone else.
Yeah, we're trying to make an arrangement. Like you'd mentioned that Alan, I've actually asked on the show before the last couple of years, but he's had a lot of stuff going on that he just hasn't had the time to deal with it. And now that stuff's finally resolved. So he's going to try to get on the next few weeks. I talked to Wes Gale. He's also very busy. He's got a project that they're trying to complete right now. He's doing 20-hour days for a programming project that he's doing in BC. And that should be done the next couple of weeks too. So we're hoping we can get everybody to sync up, and we would like to get the entire commercial Nitrous 9 team for a general history chat and answer any questions people have. Now, this is stuff done before we released it to the public, and it became, you know, the Nitrous 9 project with Boise and Gene Heskett and Robert Galtz, and I'm forgetting a ton of names here, but everybody else has contributed it since. But this is going to be the very beginning of the project. It was Wes Gale, that's the other guy we're talking about, and Bill Noble, and then I joined in within a week or two, and then Alan joined about a year or two later, and then basically the entire development from 1992 through 2001 was that core for group of people. And we're going to try to get all four of us on for a group interview.
It's a good thing you guys weren't like the Beatles and quit, and that was it.
Well, they didn't really quit. They just started doing stuff on their own. But
yeah, but that's cool.
And I don't think Alan or Wes has any interest, at least at this point, of actually getting back into it. And to be honest, I didn't think Bill and I would after, because we just got burned out. We did that for 10 years straight. And but now it's actually a lot of fun. We've got emulators now, so I can like quickly assemble a huge program really fast, then put it on real hardware. The SDC is faster than the old floppy drives by far, and it's faster than most of the old hard drives for that matter. So it's and much easier to do, just to take one of these little cards here and slip it in rather than, jerk hard drives around between systems. If you want to test a 609 here and a 609 here, or CoCo 1 and 2 with the VGA here and a Gimme X over here and all that kind of thing. So development's a lot easier and faster now with all the cross-platform tools, or even running it natively in an emulator and just unlock it. I'm running at 500 megahertz now for a CoCo. That's even faster than the CoCo Dev that David showed off by a factor of 20. So, it's a lot funner now, and there's no deadlines like back then. We were trying to get a new release every year for a while there, and you're artificially creating deadlines for yourself you're trying to meet, and then you're working crazy hours. No, I'll admit I've done that on this too, even since. But that's just because I wanted to get something out because I was excited about it and I wanted to get it done. So right now my get it done thing is the manuals.
So how does your family view your being into this stuff that they probably have no idea what you're talking about?
Well, I don't usually talk to them about it. I mean, my mom and dad back in the 90s knew that selling Nitrous 9 paid for several of my trips to Chicago with a profit. So it covered all my food, all my gas, all my hotel. And then I got to take $600-700 home after the fact. So, that wasn't too bad.
Yeah.
Mm.
Now I occasionally get free things like this. So. And actually, another one, Ed Snyder, I mean, he sent me, without having to pay for it, a Gimme X temporary board, because, of course, my work is based on the sporting industry with, big arenas and stuff that are going to be the absolute last thing to open with the whole pandemic crisis. So, I mean, I'm not going to have much work. There's a few little bits I'm getting trickling in now for some other sub-industries we do, but the majority of my work is not going to be opening up, maybe even this year, depending. So we'll have to see what's going on there. But it's nice that people have actually been, donating stuff. I mean, definitely I'll be developing some drivers and stuff for these, especially for the Gimme X's case. So, I mean, he'll get some payback for it, but I'll pay him for it later once work's back to normal. But it's been nice getting some of these, free things. It does make me feel appreciated. Plus, when you guys say it in person, that's nice too.
Sure.
Well, I got my check yesterday, so.
Oh, good. I just want to make sure that gets gone through without a delay. So, or I would have delayed all this till like next week until it got there.
All right. Well,
all right.
Are we ready to put a fork in this one?
Yeah, I've blathered on enough. So.
All right. So let me run the outro then.
This concludes another episode of CoCoTALK, the world's leading live talk show featuring the Tandy Color computer. For all things CoCoTALK, visit us on the web at CoCoTALK.live. We'd love to hear from you. Send feedback, suggestions, even segments via email to CoCoTALK at CoCoTALK.live.
CoCoTALK is rocking the 8-bit world, keeping the Tandy flame alive. We may be mocked, but we'll never stop, 'cause CoCoTALK is rocking the 8-bit world.
Consider supporting the show with a purchase of merchandise from our retro swag shop at 8bit256.com. If you'd like to become a patron of the show, click the Patreon link at our website at CoCoTALK.live.
CoCoTALK is rocking the 8-bit world, keeping the Tandy flame alive. We may be mocked, but we'll never stop, 'cause CoCoTALK is rocking the 8-bit world.
CoCoTALK would not exist without the community, its cast, crew, and contributors. Thanks go to Curtis Boyle, David Ladd, Mark Overholzer, Grant Leedy, Bruce Moore, Nick Marentes, Ron Delvaux, Rick Adams, Jason Reicher, Richard Lorbieski, Jim Brain, Tom C., Rob Inman, Mark Bosley, Brian Joyce, Ken Reicher, David O'Connor, Brian Weasler, Terry Steggy, Nick Marotta, John Strong, and many more, especially to Steve Bjork for production suggestions and James Diffendaffer for making my head explode. Please help support the CoCo community by visiting some of its various contributors. A list of resources is available at imacoconut.com. That's IMACOCONUT.com. The CoCoTALK theme song is copyright 2008 by D. Bruce Moore and Greg Sheeler. Mixed, mastered, and produced by D. Bruce Moore.
All right. I guess
Oh,
any final thoughts?
Did you play the CoCo Thoughts? I must have missed.
Yes, right
Yes.
before
It was
the
game related.
First
yeah,
break.
it's right near the start. Yeah.
I was impressed that Daniel Games had a game related one because I knew it was a tough week.
Push the button, Frank.
All right. Say
Yeah.
goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye,
Goodbye,
everybody.
everybody.
See you next week.
Everybody.